So I know you guys have seen multiple, cybersecurity panels, AI panels, and everything across the board, but how do you tie it together? And one thing, the value add that Telarus has is we have that unique viewpoint to where we aren't a specific supplier. We don't have a specific solution set that we bring to the table. What we do is we are agnostic resources that are an extension of a team that can help qualify down, exactly what the customer is looking for. What's the customer actually need when you have a C-level person or a board member say, we want AI? Everybody thinks it's a line item SKU that's just gonna be, hey, I want three cheeseburgers, 2 fries, and some AI with that. That's not a true point. We wanna take a step back and say, okay, what does this really mean to you? So there's a few things that we're gonna be breaking down here. One is, where's the value prop in the marketplace? Why is AI mentioned in every single show that you guys had today? What are we seeing in the marketplace? Because we've seen multiple different customer sizes, all the way from the small mom and pop shop to the Fortune 50 companies. Every single vertical out there, healthcare, financial, universities, government, they all want to utilize this stuff, but how do they do it in a secure manner, and how do they do it effectively? And most importantly, what problem are they really trying to solve? So we're going to hit on a couple data points on where the marketplace is actually shifting when they mean, hey, I want AI. And then we're going to get into some industry experts here that I'm going to be inviting up that actually have some in-field presence and in-field expertise on exactly what that means. If you want to talk about, everybody has a different version of what this means. It's gone by, Gartner's hype cycle. It's just popularity points. There's many things that you can compare on what something is, how popular it is, but I like putting it in an easy graph. Something that everybody can understand, and that's the slope of a line. And I'm comparing it to 2 other data points. So we have the internet. Still arguably maybe a fad, maybe not. But the internet, you can see the popularity of it. It's going on maybe a 45-degree angle, a little bit more, and before it caught on. And then now we had smartphones. Kudos to the teacher in my 3rd grade that told me I'd never have a calculator on me all the time, so I need to do this math in my head. Now I have that smartphone on me 24/7. So smartphones are actually, a little bit more popular hype cycle there. And then you see AI at the bottom there on the right. So AI, exponentially more popular just because of the hype cycle that it had when it came out. Everybody's talking about different versions of ChatGPT, how they're using to generate content, how they're automating their own personal tasks. Not only just from the business perspective, but how they're doing it in their homes. So one of the cool value points that I've seen here is, relevance to 100 monthly active users, comparing to things like social media, to ride-sharing apps like Uber. How does this stack up compared to all of that? And they broke it down individually to where Uber itself took 6 years to get to 100 million active users monthly. You still had, Facebook, MySpace, all of them even took 5 years in order to hit that 100 user a month active user base. ChatGPT, 2 months. You can see how fast that is to get to 100 million users monthly actively using it. So as soon as something like that catches on, that's why people attract to it, and that's why you're hearing so many things today. What are people physically using this for? So when we interviewed a bunch of CIOs, CEOs, board members as part of our go-to-market strategy, this is what they've all said is why they're using AI, what it means to them. You can see on the left here, the most popular ones are kind of more categorical. They're thinking of AI is going to make my employees more productive. It's going to, cut costs for us. It's going to improve customer experience. And as you see, you get down the line, things get a little bit more granular. What does productivity mean to them? You have automation, you have modernization, scalability, you have cost reduction, and then you have a few people that admitted that they want to replace headcount. So AI means a lot of things to many different people, and that's where our job comes in, and our value is we don't have a specific solution set and slides on here's the services that we offer. We want to have that agnostic combo that says, hey, this is what AI means to you. Let's line up somebody that can help you get to that roadmap. What's that 1, 3, 5 year vision on it, and let's align somebody that can scale with you. And as notice on the far right over there, there's one important data point that I think here, all of them are obviously important, but what's the most important one is that 0% said that it's not applicable to them. So the market here is physically huge. If you're an advisor, if you're an MSP, if you're actually looking for this for your internal customer base, your internal IT team, this applies to everybody. They all want to use this because their competitors are using it. How do you get increased market share? How do you get, the competitive edge against somebody that, has been neck and neck with you or beating you in other areas? Automation, AI has been the easy key term to where they heard it to where now they want to implement it. So one thing I want to focus on is, again, AI is not a SKU. It is not something to where you just go in and you walk up to a counter and say, hey, I just want 5 AIs, how much is it going to cost? That's the expectations that we see from customers that come in, and that's what they want to hear. They want to see, hey, I want AI, and I just need this many users with it. What is it going to cost? And the first question we always ask is, what do you want it for? Because do you need it for some form of cloud infrastructure, modernization? You saw in the last presentation how IBM is, modernizing cloud apps and using hybrid cloud infrastructure, optimizing the FinOps practices and all that stuff. That's where AI works heavily in cloud. It automates something that a human would normally touch and optimize for an IT staff and make sure that the scalability is there for the resource needs. But there's other areas that it plays in too. Cybersecurity, it's huge. Right now, there's a big problem we have with shadow AI. A customer calls up and you got a CISO and they're like, hey, I know my employees are using ChatGPT, they're using Google Gemini, Anthropic, they're using those public AI tools, but I don't know what they're doing with it. Are they putting confidential information in there? Are they putting identifiable information in there? Are we adding risk by not enabling somebody to do this? So now you're having a cybersecurity conversation on how you get visibility to that CISO and director of cybersecurity to physically see what tools people are using, but also what are they putting into these tools? Do you need to scrape out data before it goes into a public model that's being trained for somebody else to use it? Or do you want to enable them with something that's more internal to where it's not leaving the company's data premise? So now we're blending cloud and cybersecurity by enabling companies to use the OpenAI models or anyone out there, or custom developing one even, but we're also allowing the cybersecurity team to protect it because now they're controlling what data is going in and what data is coming out. We also have AI, big one that everybody points out is CX, that virtual agent, the agent assist, to where you're dynamically getting a script based on what the caller's actively saying. And then you get the quality assurance and quality management metrics after the fact to where it transcribes all that data that's happening throughout the entire contact center, giving you telemetry on what's being said. You can get data correlation. You can see how effective calls are getting answered without somebody sitting there wide-jacked as a supervisor and listening into anything and everything, or somebody watching dashboards 24/7. Now you can get notified on that when a problem occurs. AI allows you to detect all these anomalies across the board. Cybersecurity, contact center, you're making your employees and supervisors way more efficient by just getting them a notification when stuff hits the fan, rather than making them sit there and watch a monitor all the time. And then, the big one is IoT. Using those sensors for pieces that don't actually have a piece of software on there, something where you can get a hardware component, convert it to software, you can get data off of it, and then send it to a data engine and do whatever the heck you want with it after that. But how do you get that stuff there? What other things can you do with it? I mean, we've all seen cool camera technology with computer vision platforms that can recognize you as a person, you as an attribute, you as an entity if you're a known person. I've never had that problem. Or, what are you recognizing from like a statue or a place or something like that? All these things are built in to where we've even done some cool stuff to where a manufacturing plant can recognize a forklift that is within 5 inches from a person to where now they can, do a proactive coaching rather than actually have a safety issue. You can monitor for personal protection that when somebody comes into something like that, making sure that that person's wearing glasses, a hat, or you can even tie it in the facial recognition to where it allows them in the room just because they match somebody that was pre-approved by the list. There's many things that AI is being used today. And that's the main point that I want to let you know is there isn't one specific use case, and that's why there's not one specific SKU on AI, because there's many different ways that it can be used in the enterprise. So, a couple data points I want you to leave here with before I call up our industry experts here. So, top leaders using generative AI are recognizing an ROI of 10x. So, if you could name another solution or value add service that allows you to have a 10x ROI on something, and 10x ROI quickly as well. You see in the top right there, within 8 months, or 13 months, sorry. So recognizing a profit in 13 months on an investment, this is unheard of in the industry. Usually we're looking at 2 to 3 years, possibly even after that. Now we're seeing a shorter life cycle on getting from capitalization to recognizing ROI. And then also now implementations are shortening because people are figuring out how do you physically get this to where you're having a solid process of discovery, implementation, support, tuning. Tuning's very important with all this. We'll hear that from the experts when they come up here. And then all of a sudden, you're also going to see 43% productivity use cases have provided the greatest ROI. So productivity, again, when we go back to that graph, what do most CIOs and CTOs, CEOs, everybody that has a C in front of their name, what do they want to see? That's the productivity there because everybody knows generally you're going to see a 43% at least bump in your productivity. What that does is allows you to scale without having to go hire a ton of resources in order to manage that scale. Because we see that all the time with companies. They're scaling so quickly and trying to push revenue so fast that they can't keep up with it. And that's why the automation and the productivity piece is so important because now they're laying that foundation without investing in the most cost prohibitive manner, which is human capital. And then the top barrier to implement AI, oh, I got it right here too. The top barrier to implement AI is lack both technical and day-to-day AI skills. If you've ever tried to implement an AI solution, you need a data scientist, an AI machine learning engineer, you need a project manager, you need like 5 other people in order to do this. What companies that are smaller in size or even enterprises have these capabilities and resources that are readily available that are competent in AI solutions? That's where the provider model comes in because they already have that expertise. They're doing this day in and day out, and that's something you'll see here today when we start talking to them here. And I'm going to pull them up here shortly, I think even on the next slide. Yep. All right. So without further ado, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing from me, but I want to bring up some of the 4 key industry experts here that are across different verticals. So, and I don't want to steal their thunder. Guys. Sorry about that. So, without further ado, we got Julius with ECI, Patrick with Crexendo. Yes, please, applaud. These are the experts. I'm just a talking head. We also got Tim with Warner Telecom and Matt with CBTS. So, everybody's mic's working?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. We're going to first sing a rendition of I'm a Little Teacup.
No, we're not.
All right. So first, Julius, I actually go with you. Can you do a quick introduction of yourself? What do you do and the company that you work for?
Yeah, sure. So Julius D'Amato, Director of Microsoft Modern Workplace and AI Solutions at ECI. ECI has been in business 30 years, primarily as an MSP for the financial space, primarily focusing on alternative investments. We also, through that, have expanded and do work with other MSPs, with manufacturing companies, biotech, lawyer firms, etc. We are an MSP and an MSSP, but what I do is I sit kind of in between products internally and externally for customers. So my focus is optimizing the cost value of the Microsoft solutions, as well as helping customers expand and bring in other technologies that may not necessarily fit that. So I do a lot of the product-based stuff.
Okay. So if you're brought into an opportunity and the customer says, I want AI, what do you see them meaning from that? Like, what are they really asking for when you start performing your discovery? I know you mentioned Microsoft. You guys have your own internal LLM that you guys train personally. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, so a lot of it is kind of the bot stuff, right? Everybody wants stuff for human resources and marketing and that general generative piece, but especially in the financial space, there's a lot more involved when it comes to SIM analysis, trying to get DDQs involved. Our product, Ella, really is kind of bringing the compliance and security and governance side of it on top of the tooling. So in the financial space, obviously importantly, it's making sure that you can prove to the SEC and the other governing bodies that you're able to show how an employee got to the conclusion. So a lot of the work that I do is turning on the feature sets that allow customers to do that.
Okay. So let's go back to the Microsoft realm. So what is the first mistake that companies make when they just go flip on Copilot?
They have no data in Microsoft 365, or everything is overshared. I mean, I'm sure everyone here has heard it before, but all it takes is the wrong comp file to be in the wrong place, and then Jimmy all of a sudden knows how much your CEO makes and that he has a $1,500 a month car payment that is expensed. So obviously you want to protect that. But outside of that, a lot of it really turns into people not knowing what they want. Everyone sees the buzzword AI or powered by AI, and they're like, oh, well, you just want to get it on and going, and that's without proper use cases or not having data in the right place, the everyday usage of it kind of falls off. And that ROT, or return on time, that Microsoft kind of advertises gets kind of lost in the shuffle of users either using it improperly or not using it at all.
So what would you say is a good solution for a cybersecurity team? Do you think it's protecting and visibility on what people are using, or do you see it as finding a way to enable it to where you can control it? What do you see as probably the better solution?
I think the best solution is both. We have a Copilot readiness program and a Copilot enablement program that we kind of bundle together at a discounted rate. And it's really there to do both sides of it, because a lot of customers don't understand what they get with their Microsoft licensing, and they're not turning on features and purview around Cloud App Defender. They're not doing anything around data classification or data labeling. They don't have any DLP policies set up, and they have business processes for it, but they don't back it up with the technologies that are present. And then for the enablement side, that arguably takes 3 times longer than actually getting the tenant set up to do anything with Copilot.
So let me back up right there. We used a lot of acronyms,
Yeah.
and you know, in the channel we don't run out of TLAs, the 3-letter acronyms, but I kind of want to pull that back to explain, what do you mean by, well, not really an acronym, but what do you mean by data classification and DLP, and why is that important here?
Yeah, so being able to classify the data not only helps you understand what data you have and where it lives, but it also helps connect these LLMs and technologies to understand how to get to the source of information and how it can piece it together without an appropriate data map. If you want to do a lot more of the advanced Copilot features Microsoft shows off, that is the foundational work. It needs to know how to get where it's going. On the DLP side, there's controls in place where if you have data sets that you don't want Copilot or any AI tool to reference, you have that control to turn it on. And then you can back that up using Edge for Business and have controls in place for there. I know everyone loves Edge for Business. It's everyone's favorite web browser. But importantly, getting customers on board with that and deploying Purview as a technology in whole gets visibility in there. A lot of it turns into nobody understands or can see how people are using AI in the firm, and getting a holistic view and be able to hunt for bad actors or malicious actions is important.
Thank you. So I promise you guys we'll see a pattern here as we go through. There's going to be a lot of the same important topics, which is why we wanted to do this in the first place. Because if somebody comes asking for AI, there are first things you want to have implemented or things you want to have discussed before putting a solution in place, because you're going to have data leakage and data loss, and you're going to have employees have access to information that they shouldn't have access to, and that's a massive risk on the company if they do this without taking the proper controls. So Patrick, will you give a quick introduction about yourself and the company you work for?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Patrick Jean. I'm the Director of Sales Engineering at Crexendo. And I was here 3 years ago, and we did a presentation on our CX platform, our omni-channel contact center. And I'm very happy to be here and to share with you all the AI improvement and what tools we've added, our strategy as it relates to UCaaS and CCaaS, specifically omni-channel contact center, which is where we'll live. And a special shout out to Karen, who is featured on the New York billboard for her excellence.
That's applause worthy.
I know.
Thank you.
Too bad most people will think it's Photoshop, but we know in our heart. Yeah, so I'm very excited to be here to talk about how AI improves how we interact with our customers from UCaaS and CCaaS standpoint.
All right, thank you. So let's break it down on something that the customer or an MSP or somebody can actually experience. When we talk about AI in the CX space, I like to break it down into 3 main category areas based on the agent. So think of the agent that's taking that call, whether it's just a department person, it's IT, it could be really anybody, but just using the term agent for that person that's taking the call. We have before agent, we have during agent, and we have after agent. So before agent is where that virtual agent lives and breathes, that self-service bot, the omni-channel experience that's automated that you were talking about. We have the during agent, which is that agent assist that I mentioned earlier, which is, hey, as I'm talking to this individual, the system is automatically populating me a KB article or a script on what I should say, enabling that new employee to be a very effective agent within the contact center. That is where the agent assist lies, where it's using generative AI to give you that information live. And then we have post-agent, which is where those cool metrics come into place. How are you doing within your contact center? Are you converting, if you're a sales lead gen company, are you converting to sales? Does somebody need to follow a specific script, a certain X percentage of the time as part of a bonus? You can have all this stuff automated from the telemetry you get from a CX solution. So Patrick, with that being said, can you expand a little bit on the before agent coolness that Crexendo is doing?
Absolutely. So before the agent even gets on a call or an interaction with a customer, they do better when they have all the information that they need. So our AI tool will gather that information right prior. So let's say a customer reaches out via a phone call or email or SMS, their information is already captured within our CRM or an internal database. And based on their past interaction, we have a pattern of identifying what's next, right? Where that, which agent is best to handle that particular situation. So by the time the agent comes on board, they already have all the data they need, and that removes a friction, a high level of friction within that interaction, because no one wants to spend the time answering questions and going through a whole list of Q&A before they get their issue solved. So pre-interaction with the agent already has all the data they need, and we're very happy about that.
Man, imagine calling an ISP and having that. You don't have to explain yourself and who you are, what your problem is 5 times before you get to somebody that can physically help you. Imagine having this, and they have all the data right in front of them as you escalate through somebody that gets more technical each time. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
So how about, I want to get into after calls, and we'll move along here in a second, but so after that agent, what type of visibility and value can you give to a supervisor or a manager with the telemetry that you get automated within the platform already?
Absolutely. I worked as an agent, as a call center agent a couple of decades back. And one of the big issues is how much data entry and how much after-call work you have to do. And that was the most tedious part of the whole work, right? Because you have about 60 seconds or a minute and a half to put in dispositions, to put in comments and what's next. So our approach is removing all of that from the agent. So the agent ends the interaction and they move on to the next one. And how we do that is you have the call summary, so the AI captures what happened with that call, provides a feedback to the supervisors and the agent, let him know, hey, this call was okay, but here's a couple of things that you could have done better, right? So that you have that internal coaching right after that interaction, right? The agent does not have to put in any notes or disposition. We have a tool that will capture what topics transpired during that call, right? So the agent doesn't even need to label that call, right? Just hang up or close the chat or whatever channel you're using, and all of that data is captured, and not just capturing good data, but using that data to forecast, right? So if a customer, this is their 3rd time reaching out and they're still unhappy, having that data, letting them know, okay, this is where, this is the type of product that we have that is, that has a lot of problems that needs to be addressed. So this gives a lot of valuable information to the dev team, the supervisors who need to know which agent are doing, a good job or which agent are not, giving good service. So all of that is captured, and the best part of it is that the agent does not need to enter that data themselves.
So you can see we're kind of getting to a pattern here where we're moving away from reactiveness and getting more towards proactiveness. If you can see right after a call hangs up, the system automatically, because it does a call disposition, you get a summary data on what's being done. You can get a summary report on everything that's being discussed right after it happened. So now you can get a front of issues. Think of that development team or that IT team that they're getting the same topics over and over again. They don't have to wait till the end of the day to consolidate all that stuff. They're getting that stuff pretty much live right then and there as it comes down. So now you can get in front of issues, which improves that customer satisfaction, which then improves your employee satisfaction because they're taking happier callers because issues are getting fixed much quicker. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Tim, so your turn.
Yeah, my name's Tim Jose. I'm the COO at Warner Telecom. We're an enterprise technology management company that helps your clients to connect, optimize, and manage their IT services. Cloud, landline, mobile, software, pulling that all in. And the big thing for us right now is just the information flow, like how you're grabbing information. If you look at it, information is almost as valuable as gold. So like, how are you going to mine the information? How are you going to ingest it? How are you going to refine it? How are you going to make sure it's right? Manipulate it, manage it, and then how you were going to protect it, right? And those are like the four things to me that are huge to make sure that you're taking those tasks and you're gaining a 90% efficiency. You're taking that data and you're putting it in an environment that's secure, that your clients can trust that the best practices are being followed.
So if you had to pick 3 value props out of everything you just said, well, what would you say, like 3 bullet points that everybody from here can take that Warner Telecom would provide to a customer or themselves?
Yeah, so automation, number one.
Automation?
You're going to gain time, you're going to gain efficiencies, you're not going to do repetitive manual tasks month over month over month.
That was number 1 on that list.
Yeah. Number one, optimization. Driving cost efficiencies within the environment. Typically we're averaging about 18 to 20% savings for our clients by eliminating unneeded services. We do have an AI tool called Abe, AIBE. It's our cheeky way. We have like an Abe Lincoln face on it. It's kind of funny. But with Abe, you can go in, you enter your information. It gives an automatic ROI estimate based upon historical trends of optimizations that we've done. It also gives research on us, so you can see our security posture. We're SOC 1 compliant. We do all these really important things to make sure the data is secure and the information flows. And then they can also self-contract. So by working with the trusted advisor, they can self-contract for our service with potentially without even engaging with us. So it's all about giving tools to the trusted advisor to move quicker, faster, better in the marketplace.
You mentioned a lot of awesomeness there, but the first point that you made, who has been asked here to save their customer money, or from their leadership to save money? All right, I'm hoping to see more hands there, because that's like the main request that we're getting all the time. Hey, I want to do all this cool stuff, but I want to save money while I'm doing it. Now you have a platform that's doing all this automation. It is helping out procurement teams do anything that they need to do. It helps allocate funds for accounts payable and all those chargebacks that big organizations need to do. But then it also provides the security piece of it for SOC 1 that we get requested for a lot. Now companies are getting their re-ups on that for audits. Now you can do that within this platform while saving companies money, and that's huge.
We're using RPA applications as well to procure payment. So, 4 to 8 hour SLA where the payments are going out and guaranteed. So again, it's not Janie's on vacation, payments didn't happen or something happened. It's all automated. It's all flowing. It's all documented. Audit trails throughout the process. We're really focused from the AI side right now, from the data validity and collection side, and then moving forward into other modules within the AI family.
So you mentioned the data collection piece of it. How hard is it? Like, let's say we start a conversation today with a customer. How hard is it on that customer in order to start enabling them with your platform? Yeah, so we talk a lot about the software, software this, software that, but we have a professional service team that will help manage the entire enrollment process. So they're collecting all the data from the vendors, they're documenting portal credentials, SLA credits, all the different things that are important that the client needs to have at their fingertips. So we have all that collected through our team and through the tools that we have. Again, RPA, ETL, API, SFTP, just about any way that we can get data into the system, we're using those tools to securely getting it in and then taking the next step. Some great stuff. All right. Thank you very much, Tim. All right, Matt, last but not least, I know you've been itching to talk about some of this stuff. I see you over there.
That's fine.
Little flickering.
A little shaky.
All right, your turn.
All right.
Who are you? What you do?
Exactly.
Which company?
My name is Matt Douglas. I'm with a company called CBTS. Been with CBTS for about 16 years. I run their sales engineering group for channel-facing opportunities. Basically, CBTS is kind of unique in the channel that we're known for delivering best-of-breed OEM solutions, but as a managed service. So we're kind of like half a systems integrator and VAR and half a managed service provider. So when you've got customers that are dead set on buying Cisco solutions or Microsoft solutions or Palo Alto solutions. In the past, those typically were purchased through a VAR. They weren't managed services. We were in this, all in the room basically out of the revenue stream unless you were a small VAR, right? So our job is to take those technologies now in the context of AI to learn how to apply the AI kind of improvement to employee experience and customer experience when we do our UCaaS or CCaaS services, because we're a phone company all across North America, and we deliver the entire Cisco suite and Five9, and in fact even our own CX Sync contact center product. Similarly, on the AI side, when we're delivering networks, we manage like 20,000 networks all across the country, and typically kind of Juniper, Meraki, and Palo. Well, there's been massive advances in the AI technology, particularly around Juniper and Palo, mitigating risk, fixing problems automatically, improving mean time to detect, mean time to respond, those kinds of things in the cybersecurity world. So basically taking best-of-breed OEMs, how do we then turn those into managed voice services, managed LAN and WAN and SASE services? And then we're a pretty big Microsoft shop as well. And so we've seen a big increase in customers wanting to explore what they might do with Copilot. I'm sure ECI as well is willing to. We do a one-day seminar where we'll meet with the customer and kind of talk about the art of the possible. We call it an AI readiness seminar. And so, yeah, we've seen a big influx as well of people trying to figure out what I should or shouldn't do with Copilot, and that's been a big part of our practice too.
Okay, thank you. One thing that you mentioned that if you saw it on the slide that said how AI is all encompassing, there's one piece on there I didn't really touch on because I wanted to save it for this gold nugget right here, is the network piece of it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of requests for AI ops. So how do you automate the orchestration of a network and the management of it to where your team's not sitting there having to do MACD and moves, adds, changes consistently throughout the day? So can you expand on the Juniper and Palo platform, how they're leveraging the AI ops piece of it in order to make this more efficient for customers and end users?
Yeah, it's a big deal. The Juniper Mist platform, really, all the way from LAN switches, Wi-Fi, even and edge routers, is a completely AI-enabled platform. So it's a platform that can help people provision and use an actually natural language interface to provision thousands of pieces in a network if you want. They're known for very large environments. So you literally, every Walmart, every UPS facility out there, tracking packages, et cetera. This environment allows you to easily deploy. This AI environment in the Juniper Mist side actually allows you to set service levels for particular things. Like I want to say that, in a particular Wi-Fi environment for this SSID, I want to be alerted if I get connection failure above 5%. And not only alerted, but then doing a live packet capture. And even if you set up templates identifying that maybe this particular switch had a VLAN set wrong, couldn't see an SSID and can fix it on the fly. So AI in the AI ops world on the network is giving people more visibility, more observability, and actually self-repair and alerting, those kinds of things. So it's a big deal there. Now the Palo side and security, significantly different there, right? Because like I got some statistics earlier this week from our SOC. We use Palo completely around our entire environment. So 2,300 employees, 60 locations, et cetera. We saw some like 6 million events that AI identified and turned into 150 alerts that came down and turned into 6 tasks that needed to be fixed. And those were, identified within minutes and solved within an hour and all those things. Well, you couldn't have done that without AI technology. So Palo in particular is leading not only in helping people run SOCs, but their EDR and XDR tools, those kinds of things. And we can now deliver the entire Palo stack as a managed service, which wasn't so easy to do in the channel before.
So if you have that cybersecurity team or that customer SOC that they're just getting inundated with alert fatigue, they're just getting all those alerts and they don't know what to do with it because it's coming in quicker than they can respond to it, what would you recommend for them?
So those kinds of organizations, so one, we deliver managed SOC services, so maybe it's a smaller organization that we would take over those SOC services or augment it after hours. But even in your larger companies where they manage their own SOC, there's a product called XIM from Palo that takes all these feeds, no matter where they come, and starts to enable this kind of efficiency. Palo literally runs their entire SOC on less than 8 people globally, and whatever, tens of thousands. 8 people. 8
like I can count on my fingers, 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
What you're going to see or start to see AI enabling in the security world is this level of efficiency, responsiveness, remediation. So it's a big deal.
So I have one more question for you, Matt, before we have consolidated answers. Make sure you guys are awake here. So I want to get back to the natural language piece that you said, network management via natural language. Can you expand on that and how that's going to be super valuable to an IT team?
Sure, absolutely. When we're going into an IT team, any of us, I think, selling managed services, there's sometimes some different value propositions. So one of them is maybe we want to come in and do after hours. We want to give them their nights and weekends back. Maybe you got IT shops that have lost some personnel and they just flat need some help, but they also want it done in a co-managed way as well. So anytime we deliver any of these managed services, it's also in a co-managed. They're getting the same interfaces to manage it as we help with. But then on that kind of the natural language part, particularly as you get into bigger environments, you used to basically have to go in and program a particular SSID on a particular AP or those kinds of things. And now some templating came in, et cetera. But this natural language interface inside of Juniper, I can literally say, could you please tell me the efficiency rating against this template that I built for the 10 switches in Denver? Can you tell me the performance of the SSID, the vendor SSID that's in my 500,000 square foot warehouse? And so these kinds of natural language queries you just couldn't do before. And so it gives a lot of capability not only to us to help manage it, but then those people to manage their entire networks or co-manage it with us as well. Yep.
That seems amazing for an IT team.
Oh yeah.
Not, just putting in human language and now it does everything for me.
Observability, mean time to detect, mean time to respond, those are all the things that people are wanting to get a hold of, absolutely.
Okay. So I know you guys were warned that I make up questions as we go, and sometimes not the one you want to have. So the value that we want to provide is not just something that you can go on the internet and search for and find information on, but we want to provide true insights on things and experiences that you guys have had in the field with implementations, support, and all that stuff. So I'd like to bring it back and kind of start down the line here. What are some caveats that you guys have ran into, or you guys went into an implementation and a problem came up that you haven't seen before, or lessons learned that you guys had? What's some information that you can share for everybody here that they can provide that insights to anybody that they're advising or working with, and show that they that true value?
Well, for me, the biggest one is licensing. I know that's everyone's favorite topic, but I run into a lot of scenarios where customers are not licensed appropriately in the Microsoft platform to get the feature set that they want. And that conversation on license consolidation, bringing everybody into the Microsoft 365 E5 license, for some customers of ours is not a big deal. In most scenarios, I wind up saving customers, $3, $4, or sometimes $15, $20 a user a month just through licensing consolidation. But when you start trying to get into the more advanced feature set, it turns into you have admin accounts that aren't licensed. Why is that? Why are you using name admin accounts instead of privileged identity management? Why are you not leveraging IAM where you're supposed to? So, holistically speaking, a lot of it turns into a licensing conversation. The other side of it is really just not data readiness. There's a lot of data that's kind of sprawled all over the place. We all know that COVID happened. People put stuff in Box and Dropbox and Google Workspace, and that spread happened, and a lot of people don't realize that the Microsoft tooling can bring that all into one place. So you're not building bespoke DLP policies all over the place or bespoke data discovery policies. You can build it bring it into one platform, and now your compliance officer or your head of IT can do a single search in the audit and say what happened, what has occurred. The other side, too, turns into communication compliance, especially for customers that need to retain the logging for Copilot or their own AI tooling, and being able to enable that and get that is hyper important. Because if compliance officers aren't doing regular reviews of how people are interacting with Copilot or any AI tool, you'll never really understand the value behind it. So with us, we do a continual follow-up with customers, especially when we're doing custom agents or we're doing custom AI solutions for them or using our Elo platform. It is a continual education process, it's a continual follow-up on it to make sure that it's going in the direction the customer expects and then adjusting it, because AI changes. I mean, Microsoft makes a change every week, right? So it's difficult to say, yep, here you go, you're done, your solution's ready to go, we'll see you in 4 or 5 years when you're ready to go again. It's like, well, no, now we want to add this one feature in, and it's being able to fold that in.
So when you usually find the licensing optimization, do you see people are undersubscribed for what they want to do or oversubscribed?
Definitely more undersubscribed. for what they want to do. A lot of clients will do like Office 365 E3 with EMS E3, and then because they need to have Smarsh or Global Relay for journaling on email messages, they'll add the Microsoft 365 E5 compliance and security one. I don't know if anybody here knows of that license or any of the licenses I'm mentioning, but they'll have those three, and it's like, well, what you're paying for that, you can just pay an extra $2.60 and get everything. Why are you just doing the individual ones?
So what are you seeing, like, since you're talking them into either bumping up their license from E3 to E5 or adding on a specific add-on module through their existing licenses, how much are they generally saving when they're removing this other stuff that they're replacing by staying in the Microsoft realm?
So a lot of times when I've done the consolidations, especially if they're coming out of Slack or coming out of Dropbox and Box, you can see thousands of dollars a month in savings. When you do it a per user level on the Microsoft side, most times it's usually about $2.60 per user that you're saving, especially once you step into moving from monthly to annual commit and payments. But in most cases, I'm saving clients about $15 a month a user.
Dang, so that adds up. Matt, I know you want to add to it.
Tell me if you agree too. I think there's an opportunity for EAs. Microsoft EAs have been out there for a long time, and we have found, I think you probably have with your customers as well, is that oftentimes they're buying these EAs and they end up oversubscribed with all sorts of licensing they don't need. And
Take a quick pause and explain what an EA is.
An enterprise agreement, okay, where you basically sign your life away to Microsoft and you get every single thing for every single user. Right? And more customers we've seen are starting to take a look at a CSP model, buying individual licenses where appropriate. And if I understand correctly too, I think Microsoft has even changed the EA, and now it all goes direct. It's pulled away from Crayon and some of these people. So I think the audience out there, when you've got Microsoft customers who've got an EA, it's probably worthwhile getting with a Microsoft expert, because there can be some real savings on licensing. Yep.
Yeah, and importantly behind that too is the EA agreement is going away, except for like their highest tier customers like Dell and Palo Alto and stuff. So on the CSP space, Microsoft is leveraging significantly more of us to be able to handle, triage, first level support, all that stuff. So that's been a significant kind of increase for us, is getting all that out of Ingram and CDW.
And that conversation can end up being a great opening into managed services. People help them manage Azure stacks, consumption. We're starting to pay in consumption in the channel as well. So that conversation is starting to lead to many other managed services around that Microsoft technology.
Yeah, that's been a significant uptick for us on our MSSP, because we have our own XDR and SIM platform. So a lot of those customers that we take over don't have any of that, or a GRC platform, so it's governance, risk, and compliance. So we're able to bring that all in one place.
Patrick, I know we're going to take a little bit different realm from cloud back to CX here. Can bring it back here, bring it home to us? What are some lessons learned?
Bring it back. How badly customers want to stick with their own processes. There are processes that are not well designed for the use case. And when I sit in front of customers and we go through what they want or what they expect the system to be able to do, and we identify some not so great processes, how they handle certain things, and the fact that they would need to maybe do a little bit of outside training or maybe restructure their process is the hardest thing.
So how do you navigate that conversation? Do you just point at them and say, that sucks?
No, we have to use data. We have to come back and show them, this is your process, this is what the new process would look like, and this is the result. And to show them a lot of the unnecessary friction they have, and they're sticking to it. So it's always a good little challenge for me to really show them, just by adding tools is great, but also you want to look at your own process, how you go from A to Z, using all your tools, following the easiest path.
So you make them easy to consume on how they're wrong,
yes,
without telling them that they're wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
And then let them know that the solution came from them.
That's brilliant. All right. Thank you. All right, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I think from our side, it's making sure that we're flexible. I mean, sometimes we've been, very, this is our process, and this is how we collect data, and then it's a very dispersed data source on the other side. So we've had to adjust our systems to be more flexible, to adapt to the outside resources to get that data into the system. And then I think it's also being a disruptor of asking the right questions, right? Digging in there. Don't just take, well, we've done this for 20 years. Well, yeah, well, you've done it for 20 years. That's why you've hired us to change your process, right? To ask those deep questions up front, to implement change, not just continue with the status quo.
So one of the big issues I've seen in a lot of TEM conversations is the customer doesn't know where all their bills and data are. How do you educate them on where to find this information, where it could be hidden?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a reverse engineering process of, digging in backwards to try to figure out what they have and talking to the sites. But, our team will handle that entire enrollment process of data, and someone's paying the bill, right? Somewhere that's out there, and we're trying to grab that and ingest that data moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Very valuable insight. I see a flashing red light saying that we're out of time. I do want to thank you all for sitting through this. I hope it was valuable information. As you can see, we got some awesome experts in many different technology verticals behind us here. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything at all, always happy to talk nerdy at the Telarus booth. You'll be able to see all these folks as well. So I do want to give a heartfelt thank you to Tim, Julius, Patrick, and Matt. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.